So good afternoon, everyone. This is Ruben Aurelio, your superintendent, and you're joining us here for the Social Media Partnership Program webinar. We're going to try to keep this brief. We will have a moment of time at the end if there are questions from those who are in attendance. This webinar is being recorded, so staff members who aren't able to join this afternoon will be able to watch it as we progress. Joining me on this webinar is Derek Machado, who is our Director of Technology and Information Systems. And then you can't see her video, but she is here in the background, Michelle Hopp, who is our Data and Technology Integration Specialist. And they were here to help me and potentially answer some questions by the end. So we're going to jump in. I know our time is precious and your time is precious. So why are we now changing our policies and looking at social media for their school district? So last month in May, the May 18th board meeting, our school board did adopt board policy 1114, which is district sponsored social media. And that adoption in part was to make sure that we were compliant with the fact that we currently manage Twitter and YouTube accounts for the district. And this gave us the coverage and protection necessary in managing those accounts. And in support of our insurance provider, North Bay, they wanted to make sure we were completely covered. And so this policy was adopted by the board. Now, what this means for you all, staff members who currently manage or own social media accounts, that's what we're going to talk about this afternoon. So first off, we want to make sure that we're implementing consistent branding and messaging to ensure a protective layer of website administrators, the school district, and our students. So we know that many of you currently manage or own social media platforms. Some of those are Instagram accounts. It could be a TikTok account. It could be a variety of different, even Twitter, YouTube. And so we want to make sure that we are coming under the same umbrella. So the protections that the district has for our current Twitter and YouTube accounts is applied to all of you all who are managing same kind of social media accounts. And that's where that second bullet there, it does align all our existing accounts with district policies. And our NBSIA is our North Bay insurance provider, and their recommendations to make sure that we are protected. Anyone that is not under our umbrella would be considered unofficial and would not have the same level of protection. So this webinar today is our first communication. I think we did a communication we set last week, but this is our first sort of official video communication with you all to let our current account holders understand that we do appreciate the work you're doing with social media, the engagement that you're getting with our community and our students. We want to make sure that those efforts, there is competence in managing their sites, that we understand and adhere to our current expectations and policies. So we don't want to take these from you. I just want to be clear. You will remain the owner manager of a social media account, but we want to provide some level of oversight just for those just in case moments. For the most part, I would say 99% of the time, we will have very little to do with the social media accounts, but we are there just in case. We know that monitoring these social media accounts could potentially create more work on the district level. And we're not necessarily trying to add additional personnel in that place. So we are trying to assess the scope of this work, the level of accounts that are out there, and then determine from there moving forward how we want to provide that level of oversight. We know that we want to adopt a more considered approach than demanding passwords from you all. We are here to collaborate and not necessarily impose control. So this is basically the steps we're looking to take. We are notifying all of our staff members who currently own social media accounts that utilize district branding or are affiliated with our school district. Could be clubs, it could be classrooms, it could be sports. And then we are going to create this process where we essentially ask you to share with us the information so we can be part of your account. That would grant you the official authorized district social media status. But you have a choice. We are not forcing people to do this, but it is kind of a two-pronged approach. Those who do want to join us and essentially provide us access to your social media accounts, you would be under our protection as a district. Or you can remain an unofficial account, but we are going to ask that you put a disclaimer on the profile of that account, and you'd have to remove the branding of the account that's specific to our district. If you choose to stay an official and don't remove branding, we are going to be asking the social media providers to, what's that word, Derek? Not delete.
Would essentially be to take down the account.
Take down the accounts because they're not official. So that is the risk. So why become official? Why be connected to us? And one, we want to provide a layer of protection using Archive Social. Derek, can you speak to what that is exactly? Because you have a better understanding of that.
Sure. Archive Social is a program that we've adopted ideally for our Twitter pages, but also for our YouTube channel, that basically makes it so record keeping of these social media websites is accurately reflected. The social media websites have, there's no onus on them to keep records retention of any communications that go on those social media platforms. So for example, if you were to post a picture of something for your club, organization, sports team yesterday, and for whatever reason, there was an investigation or something happened to where I need to see this comment that occurred at 5:01 p.m. on this day, but it was deleted. And we can't necessarily go to Instagram, Facebook, whoever to get it back. Archive Social actually snapshots each individual interaction. It snapshots interactions, it snapshots posts, it snapshots DMs. So this makes it to where if there's an investigation or something else that we need to get our hands on because there was a problem, we are protected in that way.
Perfect. And that would only be for the accounts that come in under our official umbrella. Correct. So that second bullet there, he spoke to that, which is that backup that's created. And then we also want to encourage the promotion of your social media accounts. So we want to have an approved list of social media accounts connected to our website, so people can search and say, oh, I want to hear about the fishing club at the high school. And here's the Instagram link, or here's the link to that page. So we're essentially creating this sort of online community for the district around these groups. So what's the process to become official? We are going to be sending out a survey, trying to collect information from you all. It is almost impossible for us to know how many accounts exist out there that are currently managed or owned by staff. Many of you obviously use not just necessarily your district emails, but you might be using your personal email address to have created a social media account, but that account is utilized for some school function. So we want to make sure that we're asking you all to provide that information. We'll need to know what platform and the purpose. The example there is Instagram and Fishing Club. And then if who is managing the account, who owns and posts to that. If you have a partner, if there's more than one of you currently posting on an account, it'd be good to know. Of course, all the information like the handle, what's the name of the account, the associated email, and the password, so we can be part of that. And then request is reviewed by the district personnel. So the district logs in to confirm credentials. They will apply appropriate logo and official partner statement. So if you are an official social media account that's partnered with us, you would get that access. We then add the account to Archive Social. The district posts the official page to the website and can produce announcements via Parent Square, which is going to be our new communication tool rolling out next school year that's linked to Aries. So we'll be able to promote the social media accounts. And then settings within the app are changed to review content before post. So this is a change for these social media accounts. Just to be mindful right now, if you're posting on Instagram, depending on how your settings are set, people can comment and add to your post. We would want the setting changed. And maybe Derek, you want to speak to exactly why we do this?
Specifically privacy. There may be some posts that we don't necessarily want to have comments added to. Another issue that we talked about is, when posting certain content specifically of students, making sure that those are students that could actually be shared, like their image, their personality, all that would be shared over social media. And so we want to make sure that we're following the rules there as well, because we know on some social media sites that there's no follow through on that. We want to make sure that we're doing all that correctly. We're protecting not only your privacy, but the privacy of our students.
Correct. Now, if you choose to remain an unofficial account, these are the things you must do. You're going to be asked to remove all district references, logos, branding, links, and place district worded disclaimer on the site. We'll have a predefined date of sort of a drop dead date to do that. Of course, then you are solely responsible to deal with any ramifications of improper conduct. So if there's inappropriate posts that are made and you're not under our umbrella, you're responsible for that as the owner of that site. And then failure to remove logos or place disclaimer by a date, we haven't decided yet when that date will be, will result in us reporting the site to the social media account for removal. So these are our next steps. We've done the initial communication. We're recording this webinar that'll be available to all staff. Next would be a survey that's going to request your social media information. We do have a due date for that next week on the 13th. There's a link here to that form. And then the social media team will develop an oversight plan. Like I said, our goal is not to play Big Brother and watch everything you post. That real responsibility does lie on the owner of the social media account, making sure it's appropriate. But we're here just in case, right? We're here to support you when something goes wrong, or if we have requests for public records, because technically that could happen as well with these social media accounts. So we're going to go to questions. Unless Derek or Michelle, did I miss anything we need to let people know about?
Ruben, thank you. There was a worksheet that was created to gather current information about sites, and I have posted the link to the survey in the chat.
Okay. Got it. But I don't, can everyone see that? I don't know if the panelists can see. Let's go to everyone, right? I can open this up.
Yeah, I posted the chat message to host your panelists.
So this is just an example there. You can see the data we want to collect, the information we want to collect. Derek, can you speak to, once our staff shares information, including the password, how are we storing that information and making sure it's secure?
Right. Once we get to that stage and we're collecting passwords and all that, what we're going to do is we're going to save it in a secure location. We use Password Manager. We use it for a lot of our internal, IT equipment and software. We're going to be doing the same thing. And what we'll do when it comes to actually managing these accounts is that we will switch the owner email to a service account, and ideally using the same password you were used to. So you'll log in as you usually would. It would just be with a separate email. We're meeting again on the 13th after we collect these responses, so we can kind of flesh out that plan a little bit more, and I can explain my process to the team, and then we'll be able to explain that process more clearly to you all as well.
So we have 8 attendees. If anyone has any questions, you can raise your virtual hand and we'll promote you. All right, Madeline, I think you can unmute.
Okay, I don't know if you guys can see me, but I can't see myself, so it's a little weird. Okay, so I have a couple of questions, and I don't know if you mentioned it. Is there a rule I know there's been some question about, can we post student faces on our ASB Instagram? We do always ask before we post if it's to let the student know, hey, we're taking picture at club, okay, with being included. Does that cover us, or do we really just need to not show student faces at all, because that does take away kind of the human aspect of it?
I know that we collect, I believe at the start of the year, families can opt out, right, to have their images made public.
Okay,
So that's what we have to be mindful. If a parent has, sent in a form that says, I don't want you to publicize my kid's face, then even our social medias, we have to follow suit.
so as long as, if I kind of keep in mind of that list, as long as they're not on that list and they know that they're being posted, then that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, I have a couple more questions. Is that okay if I
Yeah,
run
go
through them
ahead.
all? Okay,
You're the only hand that's raised, so
okay.
have at it.
You said the Archive Social was for YouTube and Twitter. Does it cover Instagram?
Derek can answer that.
Yes, it does. It covers a variety of social medias. There are some that are not on there yet. I don't have the
Okay.
list in front of me, but I can get the list. But yes, it would cover Instagram. We're just currently using it for the Twitters and the YouTubes right now that we have.
Got it. Okay. Is there an issue with students? I have my ASB VP as my current like social media manager. Is it still permissible to have one dedicated person as a student posting, or should it just be me as the activities director on the ASB account?
Good question. I think we can have the students post. However, Madeline, I'm assuming you still have access to those
Yeah.
accounts. Right?
Yes. So I can always go in and change stuff, but
Right.
if my ASB vice president does a great job on like Canva, and then she, instead of her sending it to me and me saving it to my device and then uploading it, she just uploads, but I have oversight on my accounts that I run.
I don't see a problem with that necessarily. I
Okay.
think where we might run into some sort of tricky nature is, so let's say that student makes the post.
Right.
If there's comments or subsequent posts connected to it, because we want to have a bit of that delay where we sort of want to check.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that means your student's going to have access to checking and approving those things, or would that have to be you? And maybe Derek.
You can let me know if
Yeah,
we don't know right now.
we might be getting into the weeds there that we haven't gone down that path.
Okay.
yet.
So we can go, I always reset the accounts at the end of the year. So right now I will be the sole person, and then we can come back to that in the fall, maybe after we've moved through this a little bit more.
Right.
Okay, two more questions. And Derek, this is to you, I guess, and then to everybody. So the challenge with social media is you can only have one social media account tied to an email. And so students use their personal email to set up the account, and then they pass the credentials off to the incoming officer. And then they change the accounts for security. Would we be willing as a district to set up a student Gmail for each class so that we have some control over, so it'd be class of, or whatever, 2025, that they could tie to their social media, and then it would be off of all of their personal stuff?
I think that's something I want to circle back and talk to the group about first, but
Okay.
I'm in general in favor of having a service account that we can kind of pass from student to student and reset
Okay.
the password as the years would go on. I think that's a pretty good and creative solution to that problem, but I'd like to circle back with the rest of the team, the social media planning team, to make sure that's all copacetic.
Okay, great. And then my last question, the highly contentious TikTok, is there yes or no, or we can come back to it later? Because the kids have really found that Instagram is our best way of getting out information, but TikTok seems to be even more so. And again, same thing, I have the account, I can go in and control it at any time. Is that something that we want to, is that okay to use, or do we want to steer clear of TikTok and take that down? You can give me direction and I will take that because I know TikTok is a weird site anyway, so.
As a district, we have not articulated what additional platforms are going to
Okay.
come under the umbrella. Right now, we have Twitter and YouTube. We're pretty confident that Instagram is also going to come under the umbrella, because that's where I think many of our current clubs are using Instagram.
Yeah.
TikTok is still out there. We haven't decided on that one yet.
Okay, so you guys, it'll be obviously not active over the summer because we're done basically. So it'll be idle, and then you guys can give me some direction as we go through this process and let me know how you want me to proceed. But we use it for more of the kind of snapshots that would be in Saints Nation instead of a longer episode. And I had kids, we didn't even get it in the bulletin that we were hiding 4-leaf clovers, and I had kids running all over campus looking for them because they saw it on TikTok. So it's definitely a platform for at least the high school that is very accessible to them, and that seems to get the messaging out quite a bit.
Right.
So those are my questions. And, oh, and Derek, would you be willing, or whoever would be appropriate, to come in the fall and if we had a meeting with leadership, student council, and all of the clubs, any those that run accounts, and go over all of these things with them and make sure we are all in alignment with all of this stuff?
Absolutely. I would be more
Okay.
than happy to do that.
So I have a note for that, and I'll make sure when we have our first or second student council that we invite you.
Great.
And those are my questions. Thank you.
Any other questions? Not seeing any other questions from the attendees. So this would be recorded. We will make the video of this webinar available to all staff. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. It is Tuesday, right? Tuesday. All right, take care all.